So that brings us to talking about climate change even more specifically, and there are three huge questions that need to be addressed to have any kind of significant conversation about climate change. And these questions are so big that they don't even fit on the screen. So the first one is the climate changing? Second one is, if it is changing, is the change bad? Third question, how much of the change, if any, is caused by human activity? These are very significant questions. Answer them very, very quickly here. First of all, is the climate changing? That's an easy one. Yes, it's always been changing. We could talk about the medieval warm period, the little ice age and all that. It's fluctuated over time. There's just no question there. Second question then, if it is changing, is the change bad? This is interesting, and here's a simple analogy I came up with. Let's say there's a guy, he's going to go outside, and then you find out that it's snowing out. So he's going to change before he goes out. So he puts on an undershirt. That's a good change because it's cold out. Then he changes some more, puts on a t-shirt, again, that should help. Then he puts on a sweater, like, okay, that's really going to be good. It's cold out, those are good changes. But then you find out he's not going outside for another 15 minutes. Well, this rate of change, he's going to be the Michelin tire man. He's going to get out there, he won't be able to move, he'll fall over, he'll end up freezing to death because he can't get up and go back in home. So what happened was you observed some small changes, and then you extrapolated that into the future, saying that's just going to continue on and on and on. Well, if that were the case, yeah, it might eventually be bad. And that's what scientists do today. They take a few recent changes and they extrapolate, and they do it in different ways. Ice core drilling, we've covered that on some of your past programs. And the point here is when they look at these layers in the ice, they assume that there's one layer per year. So if they think they're counting 30,000 layers, they're telling us what the atmosphere was like and the climate was like 30,000 years ago. Well, we know today you can get multiple layers in a single year. So the ages of those layers are way off, which means telling us about the climate is off as well. Same thing with radiometric dating, when they tell us a certain layer in the earth is 200 million years old, and then they analyze it and they tell us what the climate was like 200 million years ago. Well, if they're off with their dates, which we know they are, covered in other programs, I give lectures on that, they're off with the dates, they're off with their estimates of what they tell us the climate was like, and they're using that to put in their climate models to tell us about the future. So garbage in, garbage out.
So what they're telling us to do can't be right, because it's actually not going to do anything because they're analyzing the situation incorrectly. So the solution is incorrect.
The third question we don't really have time to flesh out well enough, but how much of the change, if any, is caused by human activity? We could go on multiple shows on that, and my conclusion is we play a very small part in how much we're really truly affecting the climate. So even if it is changing, and even if somehow the change was bad, we're really not that deciding factor in the whole thing.